This is the tote bag from the Button Fabazine, and to start off you've got a little bit of pressing and ironing to do. So first job is on the top of these, let me just move this one out of the way so you can see, you want to create a double rolled hem, and that means you fold it over once and then you fold it over a second time, therefore double rolled. And if you make this hem the same width as the squares that are printed on there, then that's going to look much neater and much tidier. So you want to do that for both of those edges, and you also want to do a bit more pressing to create the handles. The handles come as a 10 centimeter width. You want to fold that in half like that and press it, and then open it back out, fold either side into the middle, press that flat again, and then one last time fold it back in half and press that. You're going to repeat that twice, and that's going to create your handles. So from here you want to stitch all the way along both sides of each of the handles, just to make sure that they are nice and solid together. And then once you've stitched those, you're going to add your handle into the top of your bag. So I would come 2 squares in and pop that in place there. Now we're going to keep it nice and straight, and then we're going to fold it over, and then we're going to fold it back under itself to make sure that when you actually open your handle out, it's going to be nice and straight. So I can use these squares as a guide. I want to be there and there. So once my handle is stitched, I'll position these, and then I'll stitch all the way along that bottom edge to hold everything in place. So I'm back from the machine. I've sewn the handles either side to create that kind of nice finish, and I've sewn these in a contrasting pink to go with the buttons that are going to be attached, but you can do it in a coordinating grey if you wish. I have then tucked the handle underneath there and stitched all the way along the bottom. The final step is to flip that handle back up and then stitch all the way along that top bit. Excuse this piece, a pen leaked in my bag, but we'll pretend you can't see that. So across the top there, and what that will do is just give an extra bit of sturdiness to those handles because they're attached in 2 places. So once your handle is attached, what you then want to do is just kind of fold it up and pin it up out of the way, because we're going to move over to the front of the bag now and get on with adding all the buttons to the front. So I'm just going to work on a little small area for now so you can see how this goes together. And you've got 2 pieces of felt in your kit, and you've got some templates for some wonky squares. So you've got large wonky squares and you've got small wonky squares, and what you're going to want to do is cut different sizes and shapes from each of them. You're going to want 100 large wonky squares and 100 small wonky squares. So I'm just starting to put these together on the bag here. I'm just laying out 2 or 3 at a time, and I'm going to alternate with large dark ones on the back and large light ones on the back. Something like, let's go this way with that one, there we go, something like that. And then on top of those 2 layers, you're going to start adding your buttons, and you have 100 buttons in your set, and you're gonna mix these up. So mix up the colors, mix up the shapes. We've made sure that you've got a few of the same as well, so if you want to make a pattern, then you can do, you've got the options. And then from here you've got 2 options of how you sew these on. If you notice, although these buttons are different sizes, don't know if you can quite see that, but all the holes line up, so you can machine sew these on if you want to, because you can get your button foot on, get well, I would use ideally the feed dogs off so it's not pulling anything through, and then just a zigzag stitch left to right, and that would attach them. Or you can sew them on by hand. Now by hand's the way I'm going to do it, and what I tend to do with this is stitch them on individually and then tie them off at the back, because what will happen is, if I can just flip this back over, if you've got on the back of here loads of pieces of thread spanning all over the place, you're more likely to get it caught when you put things in and out of your bag. So I'll stitch a couple of these on, and then I will come back and show you, and we can look at how to construct the bag. The next step on the bag is to sew on the buttons. So you're going to add those layers of felt, as we said earlier, and then add the button on the top. Now I prefer to sew all the buttons on individually, because by creating those spans of thread across, what you can risk doing is kind of pulling everything in together. So I'm going to show you how I put these on. So I will come through from the back. So as you can see, each of the positions are marked there with a little blue dot as to where you sew them. So you're going to come through from the back, and I'm going to leave a good kind of tail on it for now, and then I'm going to go back through from the front and then just pull that together and tie it off. So I'm going to tie right from the first one because I'm kind of making belt and braces here. So I could just leave it at that, but what I prefer to do is to come back in, so back through to that front one, and then I'll go through another 2 times. So this is both creating a better fixing, and it's a bit more decorative because you're creating a kind of stronger line of thread there. And then I'm going to tie it off for a second time on the back with another double knot. So that should be super secure. And then I'm just going to trim back those to leave some little threads. And as you can see on the back, it gives you kind of quite nice, neat results, and you're not risking those threads from kind of pulling together and creating a kind of pinched effect on the front. So I'm going to go ahead and complete the rest of the bag. Once I've got all of those buttons in place, I'm going to fold this in half. So that end should have been stitched as well with the handle in. And then we're going to come to the side of the bag here. And we're going to line it up and spend a little bit of time with this. So get it lined up at the top and then line up each of the squares all the way down. So you get a really nice kind of continuation effect. And then stitch halfway through the square. So it might be a bit wider than your normal seam allowance, but you want to stitch halfway through that square. And what that will do is give you a bit more kind of continuation as you go all the way around. When you're stitching the bag together, always stitch from the top down to the bottom and do a bit of a forward and reverse on that top bit so it's extra super strong. And once you've got that done, that will be your bag complete. So I'll pop some pictures on the end of the video so you can have a look at the finished article.